I have been dealing with a lot of stress and anxiety lately, and I feel like the rest of the world can relate to that because it's sometimes hard to find happiness anymore. But something that I've always found that has relaxed me and made me feel happy has been video games. Something that I haven't talked a whole lot on this channel about has been PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games. And lately I've been playing a lot of PS4 and PS5 games. These games have all been helpful in giving me a distraction from all my anxieties. That is why I want to share with you all some PlayStation 4 and PS5 games that I've been playing lately, and I recommend that you check these games out right now. The first game I want to talk about is the saddest game I've ever played, and that is Endling: Extinction is Forever. Endling focuses on a mother fox who at the start of the game escapes a forest fire and manages to get to safety and give birth to her 4 cubs. From there, she has to raise and protect her cubs as she gathers food and finds shelter. Endling's game mechanics focus on you gathering food around the different areas within the world to feed your cubs. The food can come from plants, fruits, trash, rats, birds, and more. The game takes place across 30 nights, and each night you have a small amount of time to find food, participate in side quests, and provide some learning lessons for your cubs. Early in the game, you will have one of the young cubs get kidnapped by a stranger, and throughout the 30 nights, you will have to follow scents that over time will eventually lead you to your missing cub. Endling is one of the most realistic examples of natural destruction and how in the not so distant future humans will have fewer resources. The animals of the world will be starving and survival will be harder and harder. This game was a relaxing experience because the nature of the game has a very simple game level design, but you will find so much enjoyment from teaching your cubs and experiencing the world through the Last Fox family. Be warned though, you should definitely keep some tissues by you while playing this game because this game really makes you feel a lot throughout the 30 nights that you play this game. I will say that this game did make my depression a little bit worse that day, but the game was meant to make you feel something because the narrative of the story wants to move you. The game is not long and could be beaten within 5 hours or less. If you're looking for a game that is not too long and is a quick one-day kind of game and hits you right in the soul, please check out this game. It's a lot of fun, honestly, even though it is very depressing. Who would have had the love child of Guitar Hero and Doom on their 2022 bingo list? Well, I sure as hell didn't. The developers of Outsiders made a rhythm shooter. Yes, now you can add rhythm shooter to your long list of other video game genres out there. Metal Hellsinger is a fusion of rhythm-based mechanics that connect to perfectly timed shooting. Now, metal is the first word used in the title, and that is not chosen at random because all the music within the game is part of the metal genre. Anyone who has ever played Doom will know that metal and first-person shooters are not an unfamiliar pairing. Metal Hellsinger puts you in control of the Unknown, a human-demon hybrid who is tasked with getting vengeance on the Red Judge, the ruler of Hell. The entire game is narrated by Paz, who recounts the entire story with a familiar southern drawl that really adds to the narrative of the story. Each level has cutscenes that are displayed in the form of a moving graphic novel and was artistically impressive. Metal Hellsinger, from the moment you start up the game, it is easily comparable to the modern Doom series with its choice in art style and quick-paced action gunplay. Though the games are very similar, Metal Hellsinger stands out because of the unique way it incorporates music into rhythm. There are 8 levels in the game, and each level is like its own music video to a metal song from a famous musician. As for the game's connection to rhythm, you will have to time your shots perfectly to match a white half triangle that is constantly moving at the center of your crosshairs that follow to the beat of the music. Each perfect shot will fill a gauge that can go from 4 times to 16 times. Each level increases while intensifying the music, and upon maxing out at 16 times, you will start to hear the full song with lyrics. The longer you hold this, the more rewards you earn at the end of the level, as well as raising your score that is ranked on a leaderboard. You have to keep yourself constantly moving to ensure your survival, and if you can increase your damage gauge, you will have the opportunity to use a special move that becomes very effective when facing large crowds. There are also multiple weapons you can choose from to shoot to the beat that includes dual revolvers, shotguns, boomerang claws, crossbow, Paz, which is a skull, and a sword. All of them are effective for different situations and are unlocked over the first few levels. The game takes roughly 5 to 6 hours to beat and has some elements of replayability with the addition of torments that increase the difficulty of the level through extra challenges. If you're not a fan of metal music, then this obviously isn't the game for you. This is a perfectly crafted love story between metal and first-person shooters, and I love it so much. This game was very hard to put down the whole time I was playing it, but I had to because the focus it took to maintain the combination of rhythm, beats, and music, and the gunshots was a lot of mental drain, so I did have to take little breaks here and there, but I didn't want to put the game down because it was so much fun. Some of you guys are going to have a problem with my next game that I'm going to recommend, but honestly, if you've never played The Last of Us, original on PS3 or PS4, or if this is your first time purchasing a PS5, or if you're a fan like me and you just love The Last of Us series, then this game is definitely for you, and it was definitely for me. I played The Last of Us originally back in 2013 on the PlayStation 3, and it was one of my favorite games released during that era. I also played the HD port on PS4 the same year it was released on the PlayStation 4, and I obviously loved the sequel The Last of Us Part 2 that released on the PlayStation 4 recently. But I cannot express how much I love this version of the game, and I'm very glad to see The Last of Us Part 1 on the PlayStation 5, and I'm glad we got this remake, even though it wasn't necessary. For those who have never played the game, The Last of Us is an action-adventure game set in a post-apocalyptic world that has you exploring many unique environments as you use firearms, hand-to-hand combat, and stealth to survive. The enemies you face are a mixture of hostile humans and cannibalistic creatures that are infected with a fungus. The same voice actors for Joel and Ellie make a return, and the narrative of the story is entirely unchanged, and the only difference is the multiplayer has been removed from the game. The remake does feature several improvements and changes from the original game. The remake features revised gameplay and controls, including enhanced combat and exploration. The game has improved the AI by allowing for more non-playable characters to be on screen, and the enemy AI acting more aggressive and tactful than in the original game. The game has new gameplay modes called Permadeath Mode and a Speedrun Focus Mode, and they've been given new costumes for Joel and Ellie. Even without the changes, the game just looks so amazing. Every cutscene looks better than any game I have played thus far. The gameplay improvements make the game feel better, and the overall experience is better in many ways than the original. If you've never played The Last of Us, you need to check it out right now. It has been one of the greatest games over the past decade, and this remake is arguably the best version of the game. Even though it's the third or fourth time I've played this game over the many different versions they've made, it only gets better and better. For me, I just enjoyed revisiting that world, playing with those characters again, exploring the environments, seeing how gorgeous the game looks with all of the added graphics, and you can really see that they put a lot of love into remaking this game from scratch to look just fantastic. The Last of Us Part 1 is definitely the best looking game on the PlayStation 5 and is a must play for anyone who loves the series, has never played the game before, or this is their first time getting a PS5. You really need this game on your list. Every December, DC Comics celebrates Batman Day on the second Saturday of every September. And I usually celebrate Batman Month instead of just Batman Day. So I play a lot of Batman video games, or I watch Batman content, or I'm reading comic books, which is pretty much not really unlike my normal days, but I definitely play and I do more things Batman related during the September month. And for me, the Batman Arkham series is a comfort game, and with all of the depression and anxiety I've had lately, it's just been so great to play a game that comforts me. And with Gotham Knights coming out in just a short few weeks now, I wanted to revisit the whole Arkham series. Even though they're not connected, I just wanted to revisit the whole Arkham series just before I start playing Gotham Knights in October. The Batman Arkham series is one of the greatest games ever made, and if you've ever wanted to be Batman, then why have you not played these games yet? All three games are available on PlayStation through the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium subscriptions. Batman Arkham Asylum is the first game in the series and takes place entirely in Arkham Asylum, where Joker and other inmates have taken over. The first game gave us some of the best combat and some story experiences that are some of the best in any Batman game in years. The Arkham City game was released and improved on the combat, introduced many new gadgets, and expanded the game's environment from just one centralized location to a much larger city. Several villains were added to the series, and a much needed inclusion of side quests were given to us as well, that introduced many other Batman villains. Then, of course, in Arkham Knight, it expanded the map to be almost the entire map of Gotham. The inclusion of the Batmobile, and it even made changes to the button controls and some combat system to make the game feel like a brand new experience. Arkham Knight is the most gorgeous looking one of them all, and it just looks so good on PlayStation 5, and I cannot believe how good the game looks for as old as the game is. Though some of the changes in the third game for me did not work out, the game was gorgeous and one of the best looking games in the series. Playing through all of these games again was fun, and I knew these games were amazing before, but playing them again recently, I realized that these games have not lost their touch, not even once, and are still some of the best superhero video games ever made. Lastly, I have gotten a chance to play the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer beta, which it's been a few years since I've actually played a Call of Duty in general, but it's been even longer since I've played the multiplayer. I have mostly played the story modes of Call of Duty games, and it has been probably since Black Ops 3 since I truly played the multiplayer, so I was definitely rusty when I tried the multiplayer out, but I had so much fun. The Modern Warfare 2 beta only included the new Gunsmith and Quick Play modes. This included Team Deathmatch, Domination, and new modes such as Prison Rescue and Knockout, and then on the second weekend of the beta they included Invasion. The first thing I noticed when playing the beta was how gorgeous the game looked, and I loved the design of the maps, and the sound of the weapons were fantastic. The maps were much brighter and it felt like there was less places to camp, which I found annoying when playing the previous online modes of Call of Duty, but don't let that fool you, there are still places you can camp. The game felt smooth, and overall I felt like this was one of the most fun times I've had playing a Call of Duty game in a long time, but maybe that's because I haven't played that many of them in a long time. The game finally seems to be returning back to the skills and reflexes that the main aspect of the series has always had, instead of the fancy upgrades like the most recent games in the series have added. There are also more objective-based modes than just team-based, team deathmatch and stuff like that, which makes the game feel like it has a variety. Obviously, the game doesn't release for another month, so there are a little bit of glitches and bugs that the beta seems to be having, including characters freezing and the loading of the game feeling a little weird. It felt great to play a Call of Duty game again, and I have been really needing a multiplayer game to play lately that was not Overwatch. I will be very excited to play this game's story and the multiplayer later this year. And I will say one thing, the only thing that seems to have never changed with Call of Duty is the toxic players. That is why I'm glad that there is a mute button. Everyone has a chance to play the beta right now this weekend on PlayStation, so if you don't have a pre-order, you can still play the game right now. It includes, like I said before, Team Deathmatch, Domination, and now Invasion, which personally, I love Invasion a whole lot. That is everything I've been playing recently to distract myself from all of the depression and anxiety that I've been experiencing, and it's been great. Video games has always been that thing for me. In 2022, even though in some ways there hasn't been a whole lot of video games to play, like new ones that I've really been interested in, lately I've been finding myself finding a lot of games that I'm like, oh my god, I'm so glad to be playing PlayStation 5 and playing PS4 games, and I feel rejuvenated once again and feel like I can enjoy video games, which I haven't been able to do most of the summer. Thank you all, and do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel because we do PlayStation videos every single week. And if you want to come out and join me for Twitch streams, I will be streaming every Tuesday and Thursday starting at 8 p.m. So come on out and check that out. I love playing games and I love talking to people. Now with all that said and done, let's get back to gaming, guys, and I'll see you next week. And hopefully on Twitch. I would love for you to join me. See y'all next time.